All right, Sergeant Dana Pierce, Cobb County Police Department's Public Information Office, just updating everybody this morning from the incident at 2675 Windy Hill Road. That is the Wells Fargo Bank. We got that phone call at 9:32 this morning, which we've been on the scene since. Your 10:30 update is that at this point we have all of the people out of the bank. There is nobody inside of the bank except for the individual that we've attempted to continue our communications with. We, at this point, are wanting the public to know that that area in and around the bank is secure. We are now beginning to assess, in more or less a different mode, what is going on inside the bank. So this has progressed to a point where we do not have any employees or anybody else inside who may be at risk. Therefore, we're going into another phase of going inside or attempting to go inside to find out what has transpired or what is going on currently. Again, the emphasis here is that the public is not at risk. We do not have any employee who's been injured inside, and we are continuing to attempt to make communications or to talk with that individual who's inside directly. Questions?
Sergeant, do we know people out of the bank now? Can you tell us how, with the immediate threat of those civilians removed, how this all started? Was there a report of any weapon? Was this a hostage situation? Some questions that were maybe an hour ago still fluid.
Well, I would concur with you that we do not have anybody inside the bank, so we can release a bit more information, but understand we're still in a tactical mode. So our public safety personnel, Marietta, GBI, FBI, all of those jurisdictions, we first off want to thank for being here with us and helping us to bring this hopefully to a safe resolve. But again, we're not going to release tactical information at this point as to what we're doing or going to do once we're approaching the bank or inside of it.
Sergeant, recap briefly what you just said. There was been movement here. There was an operation at the back of the bank. Recap that, please.
Well, we're into a different phase here. We know that all of our people, that being employees or anybody else other than this individual that we're wanting to speak with, is outside the bank. Therefore, we're moving into a different phase of operation. We need to do that in a very tactical and very calm and very procedural manner, and that's what they're now putting together as far as a plan to go inside and determine what has happened inside of that bank, of that commercial bank. So we're kind of in a different phase. To our relief, we don't have any injuries here as far as any employees or any customers. And so because of that and that isolated situation that we now have contained, no public is at risk, that we now have to go in this next phase to figure out what is going on inside the bank.
How many folks were inside the bank? How many folks were inside the bank, and how did you get them out?
We'll say at least 2 employees were inside the bank, and they were able to come outside. I do not want to characterize how we got them out.
You got out of the bank.
I'm sorry?
What did they tell you? What was their...
In a tactical situation, more or less what they're telling us is information that we're using as intelligence. So obviously there are some very upset people who were inside, those employees. They are now safe. We are certainly debriefing them and talking with them. But again, the situation here is moving into a different phase. We're using some of our law enforcement tools to do that, more in a proactive manner. So we're kind of at that point where we're still in a tactical manner, and therefore information is going to be limited.
You have to be relieved. This is pretty quickly for your folks to be able to get folks out of a bank in just a matter of a few hours.
There is a sense of relief here that we do not have anybody inside the bank except for that individual who we are wanting to speak with. So we're again moving into a different phase of trying to find out not only what happened inside, we're going to treat that as a crime scene because again, the situation that occurred, but yet we do have a sense of relief that nobody's inside other than that individual that we want to talk with.
You had said earlier that the individual was cooperating with you. To what extent did that change and lead you to do whatever it was you did?
It has changed, and that's why we're moving into a different phase. I don't want to be any more definitive than that, but this additional phase or this phase we're moving into has changed as a result of getting those people outside from inside the bank. So again, in being still an active situation, we've got to be very careful. As far as we know, he may be monitoring social media and media. So again, we want to bring this to a peaceful resolve, and so I have to be very careful with the information that I've been able to obtain from our command as we kind of progress through here into the afternoon.
We have reports of gunshots within the last
My understanding is, and not to relate that as being a gunshot, but more of a distraction device that was initiated. We'll characterize it as being that, but to actually say it was gunfire or gunshots is not to my knowledge. It was given to me that that was more or less a law enforcement distraction device, and we'll leave it as that.
At this point, is this man still dangerous? Is he dangerous?
We are still having to go on what he says as truth, and if he's telling us through our conversations with him, as far as we know, yes. Until we can actually get inside as we move through this second phase of the operation to determine what, if any, threat is still inside.
And then also with the people that were in the surrounding businesses at the Chick-fil-A, are they still inside or have they been released as well?
Well, because our officers set up very quickly there and began to more or less keep those people out of harm's way, probably the majority of those individuals, if they were not witnesses, probably are going about their normal day. Any witnesses that were a part of that situation that occurred or started occurring at 9:30 this morning, we are keeping them in place so we can gather that witness statement, and that'll be a part of our ending report to this.
Are you able to relax the traffic restrictions at all at this point? Relax, easing it all at this point?
No, only because we're moving into a different phase. We're not changing anything as far as traffic. We are certainly aware of the businesses that have to operate in and around this immediate area, and we're trying to accommodate them best we can.
So Dana, with those workers who are out now, short of getting into the tactical information, are you able to say now that those employees were held hostage, and if there was, as had been widely reported, a potential note of a bomb or some mention of some type of weapon like that, with those employees now gone?
Still too much or detailed information to really release at this point until we can begin to dissect this whole situation, determine what it was that he said, what his demands were, what his demeanor was inside. Those are still things that we're going to be looking at as we progress through the afternoon.
Sergeant, could you recap what you know about the suspect?
We're not releasing anything about the suspect at this point. Again, keep in mind, we're still in a tactical mode, moving into a different phase, and because of that, anything that I say here today, I do not want to elevate his reaction or response to what I'm saying or what he believes to be going on outside the immediate area of the bank.
Are you talking to him? Do you have conversations?
I can't confirm that right now that we're actually in conversation with him. We were up to a point, but as far as I know, we are not communicating with him at this moment.
Did it end after the people left the building?
I'm not aware of that detail. He asked if that ended our conversations with him at a point where those people came out, and I'm not privy to that information. As far as a timeline or a sequence of events, again, because we're still in that tactical mode, we're not going to release that information.
Is there anything that he's asked for that you can supply? Food, water, what are you doing?
Well, apparently he has had throughout the morning in our conversations with him comfort inside to the degree of water, and he's also, my understanding, allowing those people who were in there with him to have water and needs that they may have. But at this point, we're not in discussion or talking with him, therefore I can't really say with certainty that he's doing any more than occupying the building inside.
And did he make demands before the employees got out to police?
He has been or has had made demands throughout the morning, and those are things that we have documented. Those are things that will be a part of our post report, and all these things that we're trying to do now in this additional phase is to go in and confirm what has happened inside. We're treating that as a crime scene, but again, moving into that phase of going in there and securing the inside of the facility and then documenting what we have to do.
Have the demands
You mentioned that
evolved since the release, and if so, how?
I'm sorry?
Have the demands evolved since the folks were released, and if so, how?
As far as I know, the demands have not evolved, they've not changed since those people were released.
So
Ben,
what
you
did
indicated that his demeanor changed, causing the sort of tactical operation that you took. How
No,
much-
I didn't say that his demeanor changed that caused what happened. I said that throughout initially his communication with us, his demeanor did somewhat change. Now, he has been open with us to a degree that we stopped communicating with him, and now we don't know the status of what's going on inside with him being
Well,
inside of the
how
bank.
much more dangerous did he become? That was there a level of danger that?
No, what he said or what he did not elevate our response to doing anything other than monitoring what he was saying and trying to keep that open line of communication with him.
Dana, as you know, he called Channel 2's newsroom earlier today.
I do know that.
With us for about an hour. How did that play into your response? What information did you glean from him, and how did that help you build?
Well, I was on the phone with the news desk throughout this morning as one of your employees was in conversation with him. And all we were trying to do is get that information in an intelligence gathering mode and get that to our negotiators, which we were very successful in doing. We also have to, again, thank those other jurisdictions who were around and assisting us, and it's because of their efforts that hopefully we'll bring this to a peaceful resolve here very shortly.
Is there anything more you can share with us at this time that you haven't already told us?
No.
Well, could we ask you to clarify, perhaps, the decision that was made, obviously, to send in a team or send?
Have we made that decision to go into that?
When you made a decision to send a team onto the property, and resulting presumably in the bank employees getting out, can you clarify what the thinking was that led to those decisions? No,
I cannot clarify that. Only thing I can say is that when we received this dispatch at 9:32 this morning, we had uniformed officers that were dispatched to the location. And as they arrived, it became very apparent very quickly that there was an individual inside that was making demands. So at a point, we back out, law enforcement wise, and call in those people with those expertises that can deal with that type of situation. And that's what we've done throughout the morning.
Do you know what he said when he did walk in this morning? Did he yell anything? Did he?
No, I'm unfamiliar with these statements that he would have made, nor would we release that information at this point.
Besides any kind of explosive potential, is he armed with a weapon?
What I've said throughout the morning is if what he is telling us is true, then we still have to treat this as a dangerous situation. And that's how we are treating it, and that's how we are moving into this next phase of operation.
Did any of the employees see a weapon?
I'm not privy to that information as far as any witnesses who were inside or employees who were inside. Okay? I will be back at 1:30, and we'll do another update at that point.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all very much.
Dana.